I was really trying to be happy, but I didn't really understand joy for real, because I was always trying to keep a job, get a good job, and not being my authentic artistic self. Then we're not going to talk about relationships and dating. That's a whole nother category that all contributed to this tumor that was growing in my left breast. And I was diagnosed in March of 2017. And by June 2017, I was getting the tumor removed and it had shrunk. I'll stop right there. But that's where I understood about joy. It's like repurposing a lot of my pain and being really in gratitude. Not in gratitude because I should be in gratitude, but really grateful that I know better who I am now.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Daily Soul Bytes Show. I am your host, Bola Abimbola. And this is a show where we have experts in spirituality, psychology, and leadership who are sharing their expertise for the expansion of collective consciousness. And today I have my guest from Baltimore, Kenda Bell. Welcome to the show, Kenda.
Hello, hello, hello.
And I'll read a bit about Kenda before we start. Kenda Bell is a spiritual nutritionist who embodies resilience and transformation. A life woven with triumphs over breast cancer, stuttering, and single motherhood stands as a testament to the indomitable spirit within every woman. Kenda guides others on their self-discovery journey, mastering disciplines like feminine power, Bagua Astrology, and three-way mirror, to name a few. Kenda is thrilled to share her vision in the pages of her new journal, the Ethical Selfishness Journal, 12 Pathways Back to Joy. I'm so excited to have you, Kenda, because joy is something I'm very passionate about. And having pathways to joy, because sometimes I think we really have to have audacity to embody joy in our day-to-day. So I'm really keen to hear you share your strategies as to how you became known as the Joy Mama. You know, that's really exciting.
Oh, yes. Thank you. First, again, thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Kenda. But I want to know, first of all, Kenda, what is a spiritual nutritionist? What do you do?
Okay. So, again, thank you for having me. And one of the things that I do is with my clients, I give them a questionnaire where I need to know what their daily habits are. And I'm not talking about food. I'm talking about how you wake up in the morning. What are the things that you listen to? What type of conversations are you having? What type of conversations are you having with yourself? I like to help my clients to make sure that their spiritual diet is balanced and beneficial to them. Because a lot of times we get off base, we get these ideas about self. I don't know why I feel this way about myself. I don't know why I just can't. What are you listening to on a daily basis? What voice are you allowing to become your ego? What aspect of ego is that? Is that ego? And if it is, ego sometimes has its place, right? To me, that's my personal opinion. So once you begin to identify what is the false voice and what is the real voice, then, okay, the ego can be your servant and not your Lord. But we have to look at our diet that's creating and feeding this ego.
That's so true. I love that. Habits, the thoughts, the emotions, the feelings. Those are the things that really guide and create our reality. This is, they really determine what our experiences are. So I love that. I love that. And what has brought you to this place? Because I know that at this point in time, you are very determined to experience joy for yourself and to also support your clients to live in a place of joy, which is a frequency. It is a high frequency of love. of unconditional love for self. How did you get to this place? I'd love to know a bit about your story.
Well, I my story is one that I think a lot of women have, but they don't really live it and embody this. This is for me, getting diagnosed with breast cancer was a big eye opener to how I'm not taking care of myself, which came from me moving back home with my mother when I was an adult woman because I had lost my job and lost my place with a son in college. You know, the breaking down of my body and my ideas about who I thought I should be for the world. I was having false joy. I was always in search of being happy. Appearing happy, but not really having joy. Appearing happy, because happiness and joy are two different things. Happiness is an aspect of joy. Joy is that special something where you have your peace. Joy is knowing that you can have and be more. Having joy is understanding that problems and challenges were actually sacred opportunities for you to experience God in you. So being diagnosed with breast cancer in that circle with so much going on of feeling beaten down, being a full-grown adult, independent woman, have to go back home to her mommy, was bad enough. But then after I had lost my job and went through for the umpteenth time, because I like to tell people that I had the anointing of Jonah, if you will. And when I say that, I knew I was supposed to be doing something, but I felt like I had to have the good job. I don't know about how your parents are on that other side of the pond, but for me, my melanated family, get a good job, make sure you can take care of yourself. You don't have time to really dream, and you don't have time. It's good to do if you want to be an artist, but you need to get a good job first. That's what you need to do. You can't have time to have dreams. So I was really trying to be happy, but I didn't really understand joy for real, because I was always trying to keep a job, get a good job, and not being my authentic artistic self. Then we're not going to talk about relationships and dating. That's a whole nother category that all contributed to this tumor that was growing in my left breast. And part of that was I realized that I was not really taking care of myself. And I took a non-traditional route. And I was diagnosed in March of 2017. And by June 2017, I was getting the tumor removed and it has shrunk. I'll stop right there. But that's where I understood about joy. It's like repurposing a lot of my pain and being really in gratitude, not in gratitude because I should be in gratitude, but really grateful that I know better who I am now. That's what it is.
So it had shrunk. I'm curious about it. How did that happen?
I use symptometry, and that's a system that was created by a doctor here named Dr. Narti. So you may have heard of him, I don't know, but they create what is called particulates that assist with your body's chemistry with certain things. And so I began those protocols in March of 2017, and then I did a dietary shift. Not that I'm like, oh my God, I'm so vegan, but certain foods, I cut out. But more importantly, I began forgiving myself. I began to look at how I was not nurturing myself, you see, and started forgiving people, places, and things. Because whenever you cannot forgive someone, it's because there's still an aspect of yourself that you have yet to forgive for even accepting his proposal, or forgiving yourself for trusting her after you had a feeling that you shouldn't have. Those types of things I had to really heal as well. And I feel that in combination with symptometry is what shrunk the tumor.
Oh, that's beautiful. Congratulations. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
What a triumph. What a beautiful triumph. And I'd love to know a bit about how you use some of these things you have learned, because I also believe forgiveness is a game changer. And it's something that, there are some cuts that are so deep that one sweep doesn't work. And you have to do a long-term forgiveness practice, because you're looking at different parts of ourselves that need to forgive that particular issue. So we sometimes, I thought I forgave that person, yesterday or 2 years ago, and it's come back again, and I'm feeling levels. And there are levels of forgiveness that we need to, we sometimes need to embody. So, but I think that it is something that once we hold the intention, the synchronicities will come. We will get opportunities that will allow us, when we follow through, to keep letting go of those imprints, those trauma imprints that were formed. And it's really mostly about our own self. It's not really, it's what we forgive within us that really comes to reflect on the outside of us, So it's definitely something that I totally agree with. And I would love to know a bit about your techniques, how you work with your clients. Three things: the feminine power, those disciplines, the feminine power, the Bagua Astrology, and the three-way mirror. Could you tell us a bit about those disciplines?
Sure. Well, going back to what you were talking about seeing ourselves in others, basically, let's go to the three-way mirror. I tell people that no matter what triggers you, like we could say, oh, I get it, but we keep getting quote unquote triggered, right? It's like, that's the magic word. I get triggered. People are narcissists, and narcissists and triggers are like the key words. So more often than not, if I keep attracting a certain energy, I have to start taking accountability for how I'm showing up for me. Period. Anybody that triggers us is either one of three things reflecting back at us. A pattern, which is something that we have grown accustomed to seeing. So we expect it. No matter what the signs are, we expect it, but then we get triggered. Then, but why? Because we expect that every man's going to be like a liar. So men just annoy us at some point, or someone says something that annoys you. So rather than looking at the person, but the statement, why do men trigger you? It's because men lie. What did they lie about? They lie about being married. How do you feel about marriage? I keep it. So you have something in you that feels like you keep dating men that are married and not really available in some type of way to you, whether it is emotionally unavailable or they're too busy at work. There's an aspect of you that expects someone to not be as available to you. That's a pattern that has come from somewhere. It could have been a parent that was not there, but they loved you, but your heart still wanted more, but the parent always had to work all the time. So you had to accept that your mom and your dad were never really home. But you know deep down that doesn't feel good to you, but that's a pattern. Then the second aspect is a potential. And these are things that people do that we wish that we could do. It triggers us. Like one of the things that people like to say is, oh, she gets on my nerves. I can't believe how she can just act like that and not care. She's so loud. She's so extravagant. She's so, she just wants to be the life of the party. I can't stand it, because there's an aspect of you that wants to be seen, that wants to express. That's why it triggers you so much. That's why you get angry every time this person comes into your space. There's also why you may be triggered to feel bigger, because there's a part of you that feels yet still small. And then the third frame is, of course, proclivity. That the thing that triggers you do. One of the things that I love supporting my clients with is when they talk about, oh, he doesn't want to spend time with me. All the time, he doesn't want to spend time with me. If he was going to spend time with you, what would you be doing? I don't know. Do you spend time with yourself? Are you expecting he's choosing himself, and it's triggering you because you can't choose yourself. Oh my God. Why are you saying this? You're asking him to choose you. He's clearly choosing himself for whatever reason. I'm going fast forward in the story, but we know these different scenarios. And so I help my clients to come out of victimhood and to come into balance, to understand that what I'm triggered about, I also participate in. I see myself. Mm-hmm. I'm going to always see myself. I'm always meeting myself, past, present, or future, at all times.
Oh, that's beautiful. You have pinpointed 3 things that we would see in the reflection that allows us to become more aware, to be aware, to recognize it, and then to allow that to support us to transform, because it's all within us. Whatever is in that external reality is all coming from within us. And I love the way you're using this 3-way mirror to support your clients to peek out, to be aware of, whether it's something that that they're seeing in somebody else, or something that they would see in themselves, and to be able to actually move beyond whatever that imprint is. So I love that. What about the Bagua Astrology? I'm hearing that for the very first time. I'd love to know more about that.
Okay, so I was trained by one of the best metaphysical schools in the world, called the Psalms Mystery School, and I began there as a member. Then I became a student, and then I became a teacher and a leader there as well. And I was certified in Bagua Astrology and Sun Manifestation System, the 3-way mirror that I was just sharing, and many other tools. And the Bagua Astrology is really the foundation for all of those models. It's a mixing of the I Ching and Tree of Life. And we basically look at life in sun cycles, right? So a lot of people like doing moon cycles and moon work, which is great. I love doing moon work. This is not to say not to do that. But there's also an aspect where every 45 days, the sun is in a certain space that we can maximize that energy. Like right now in the Bagua, we are in what we call the visionary phase. And of course, when you hear that visionary, you're like, what is that about? See, yes, it's springtime. Everything is starting to blossom. What are you seeing? You're being a visionary. You're understanding that the benefit is love. The idea that if I can have and appreciate gratitude and start seeing these things, I can envision opportunities. The trees are blooming. I can plant my garden here. This is the time to expand your wings. This time is synchronized with the goddess Ma'at, which is about justice, balance, gratitude. And we follow these attributes every 45 days by creating sacred spaces and also charting. So we also do personal charts, which is really cool too, because you learn based on the sun, where the sun is, and the accompanying planets, what your Bagua is, what your mind, body, and spirit are. And for instance, I am a visionary mind, a peacekeeper spirit. I wish I could really explain. I should have gotten your birthday because I could have done yours. I wish I would have known that you had an interest in this, because I would have ran your birthday and I could have told you, and you would have been, oh my God, that sounds so, oh my God. Would you? No, I wish I could run it right now. I don't have the time.
Fine, but this is fine. It's fine for us to just hear about that particular discipline and how it is there available for those who will resonate with it. For those who would resonate with it and may want to understand how it could guide. Because the sun is such a powerful solar energy. And it's important for us just to know how this really natural, powerful force can help us, can guide us. So it is a tool. And I just loved how you explained it. So that is what I wanted. I might get myself a reading from you later on after the show.
For sure.
But I did want to know about that particular discipline. And then the third one is the feminine power. So this is about, masculine and feminine power. And I know that sometimes when we say feminine power, sometimes, one may think that we're saying that the masculine power is not relevant, but we have both. We have both the masculine and the feminine powers within us. Those energies dwell within each and every one of us, regardless of our gender. So
that's right.
It is important for us to understand what is it that I have been naturally conditioned to hold, because some of us have been naturally conditioned to hold that masculine energy and we struggle to hold our feminine energies. So I can understand when there are lots of practitioners who are helping us to focus on that feminine power. But tell us how you use that in your work.
Sure. So again, I coach women and I also coach couples with my husband, and I do use the Bagua. So again, it is all going to weave in. So so what I was going to say was, for me, my Bagua is visionary mind, peacekeeper spirit, and a soldier body. So that's already telling you that based upon that.
I didn't catch that. A soul what? A soul.
A soldier, like a soldier.
A soldier.
Body.
Okay.
So that's already kind of giving you a clue that we're able to map based on where the sun is when you're born, where your masculine is, where your feminine is, or your androgynous. And some people can be triple lover or triple whatever. And basically, with feminine power, based upon the Bagua, there are 4 feminine archetypes and 4 masculine, but they all work together. I'm more focused on the feminine power aspect because there is the devotee, which is considered like the queen, the mother, the nurturer. That's like in some systems you would call her Yemaya, you would call her Set, you would call her Mother Mary. Mm-hmm. Now, the Bagua synchronizes with various systems, which is what I absolutely love as well. And that is, like I said, the mother. And we understand that most people that have that mindset, if you have that mind, you're kind of more interested in having a traditional partnership, husband and wife, where you are service. A devotee feels like she's the queen. You know, you need to worship her. She's not going to do that much work. She's going to do emotional work, but she's not going to get into any physical work. She's the queen. Then the next energy is what we call the conservationist energy. And that's more of what some people may like to call the dark feminine. You know, she's more in her internal power. That energy synchronizes with, I would say, Oya, Kalima, Sekhmet. She's very sensual. She's all about the power of one. She is not going to exert a lot of physical energy to get what she needs. She's going to utilize her internal power. See, each feminine archetype that I teach has their own style of magnetism. Women, we magnetize. Men are electric. So one way that a woman magnetizes may be different from another. There could be a woman, like I'm sharing, that is in her conservationist. She may wear black. She may be very more plastic beauty, but very intense. There's a certain energy about her. I like to teach these energies through television shows. So if you watch a show like, do you watch Power? Do you have that show over there? Power with
I can't remember the last time I watched TV, so
okay, well this is a very confident dark feminine energy, like I teach from television shows. The next one is the lover energy, and you already know by the name the lover. You know, that's like your Oshun, Het, Heru, Esther. And this is a very feminine, playful, joyful energy. She is very beautiful. She's very sweet. She's very flexible. But this energy, though it's feminine, is also very dominant because it's a very energy that's engulfing. And I teach women what each of these 4, and the 4th one is the visionary, as I was sharing with you. And this one is a feminine one, but she's androgynous leaning, which means that while it's more of a feminine energy, she gets her power from being more external than the other 3. So she's more masculine leaning. And we have masculine complements to each of them as well. And women utilize this to know what these 4 are, and I run their chart, and then I show them how to capitalize on the energy, because there might be women that are, they might be a soldier mind and a soldier spirit in like a monk body, which is masculine. They're like, oh my God, I can't, but I'm a woman. How do I get this? And so I show them how to tame their man, the masculine in them, because the soldier's complement is the conservationist. So I showed them how to stop taking charge or going out to battle, but learn how to lean back and call in your soldiers, you know, things like that. But
I love that. I love that.
but all of those things run together. I know I went way beyond, but I just love talking about this stuff.
Well, that's powerful because it's about understanding that there are different energies within us. We have the
Yes.
feminine nurturer and the feminine passionate, and we also have a kind of masculine, decisive, action based selves. And
Mhm.
all these selves make us whole. And it's not about getting rid of any parts of us, it's about coming
No.
to understand and love all these different parts of us. So I love,
And there's masculine nurturing too.
yes, there is. Yes, there is
Men nurture
definitely.
too in their own way. We have to start learning how to identify that and
Yes,
to
yes.
really support it for
And it's
men.
just, it's really about understanding that whether you're a male or a female gender, there are aspects of you that are feminine. There are
Yep.
aspects of the woman that is masculine. But the
Yep.
masculine energy itself is more of a go-getter, is more of an outward energy. Even though,
External,
yes,
internal. Yeah, that's
external.
all it is.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and but I think it's that point you raise is really important. That men also have that feminine energy within them, and they are also nurturers. And there are men who prefer to be at home rather than go out to work.
I
And
say this, we need
it's
to let them,
important.
if they're honorable men, let them raise the kids and run the home business, and let the woman that's the CEO that's been studying and getting her craft for all her life. Let her run her business and be comfortable that her husband is raising her children. Why can't we offer her that?
And I think this is so key. It's so key for us to recognize that it's not about what has been working for the people around us. It's not about what worked for this sister or that brother. It's about what is going to work for me. And before we
Yes,
know what is going to work for us, we have to understand our own self. We have to
that's right.
value our own self. We have to accept our own self. And then we know what matches us. Then we know who it is that is going to complement us. So it's really
Mm-hmm.
valuable that you're offering that to your clients to understand the energies within them, because we can have a very dominant masculine energy even though we're a woman, and
Mm-hmm.
do need a more we do need a partner, whether it's a male or female partner, who has a stronger feminine energy about them.
Yes,
And
he
it's
may
about
have to balance you out.
yes,
Yes. And you can be feminine. We like I was telling you, there is certain feminine energy that is dominant. There's dominant feminine energy.
yes,
Period. I got married for the first time at 49. I have been married for 5 years. And so had I known this balancing and what that truly was, I
yes.
might have made better choices. But once I started learning this science, and my husband was learning this science, yeah.
I love it. I love it. I
I just
love
had to
the
share
way.
that.
Yeah, I think it's really about self-discovery, self-acceptance, and those disciplines that you offer, the Bagua Astrology, as well as the three-way mirror and the feminine power, really understanding how to guide our own selves into
Yes.
understanding not just the ego self, because that ego self has to be understood, and then that ego self has to surrender to the higher self. And we can then walk as empowered beings rather than victims. So all that work is helping them to understand that ego self, to discover
Mm-hmm.
it, to understand it, to own it, and then most importantly, to surrender. Because this is the spiritual path, to surrender to that higher self. And I love the
Mm-hmm.
way that you are doing that in your own life. I love how you're sharing joy, because joy is a very, this is a higher frequency. I write about
Yes.
joy a great deal, and I would love to hear about a book, because you've written two books. The first book is
Yes.
the journal, If you could tell us about that, and also tell us about the new book that has just been released, just been published.
Yeah, sure. Woo! So, the Ethical Selfishness Journal, 12 Pathways Back to Joy. Now, this is basically a journal where I have these beautiful images of people, and I will send you the clip art. But look at this beautiful woman on the inside. So I give you 12 stories, short stories. They're very short for you to learn to be the observer. And you're going to read a story based upon my 12 joy locks. Every story is based on either happiness, beauty, laughter, peace, love, vitality, power, faith, respect, greatness, healing, and abundance. And there's a short story, and then I ask you a series of questions because I have you to look at something that probably hits home, but in the words of someone else that's going through it. And so I asked you first, what would you tell Keisha if she asked you about blah, blah, blah? Mm-hmm. And of course you say, oh, I would tell her the ABC. She shouldn't let anyone do that to her. Just saying. Then we go over to the next aspect of the question. And then I ask, have you ever experienced something similar to Keisha? If so, what happened? And then we begin to think about that particular experience. And it's like, oh, darn, I didn't think about that. And what I do is I don't necessarily make it out to be, well, you answer questions like, oh, well, I've had friends that have taken advantage of my kindness, and so I've always said yes. And so I have experienced that, and it feels bad. People use me all the time. And so I've had sometimes my clients ask me that question a lot. I mean, share that with me. So in the journal, I reverse the question to ask in the journal the same thing that I ask my clients is, what are you so afraid of if you say no? If you would have said no in said situation, what's the worst thing that could have happened? And are you also honest enough to say that maybe you're an overgiver because you want that insurance policy for when you pull that check out, they better pay it. I'm doing all this for them to ensure that when I ask them to do something for me, they better do it. Mm-hmm. Because you're not worthy enough to trust that someone will do when you need it, or they can be authentic. You understand? So that's where the mirrors, the pattern, and the potential, and the proclivity all come together. Because if I'm honest enough to say that I'm doing things that I don't want to do because I don't want to be seen as a bad person, why would you think you would be seen as a bad person? Is this something that you have experienced? Is this a pattern that you have experienced, or you've seen your parents do? Or is this a proclivity because you actually get mad and judge people when they tell you no? Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Or
there's a lot of self-awareness that is going to come out of this book.
They can't get away. When you coach with me, you are not going to get away with yourself. Yes, you can be a victim. You can if you want to be a victim, that's fine. But there's a villain aspect. If you are their victim, you're also being your villain in some aspect of this, because you're afraid to say no, or you're afraid to say yes to yourself. Yeah. And I had to go through that. My stuttering, because we talked about this before we started.
Yes.
My stuttering, I started stuttering at the age of 5 in kindergarten. And it wasn't because of anything like I didn't know anything or I was slow. I was excited, I guess. I can't remember exactly what was going on, but I was reading the alphabet and I was going through A, B, C. I'm proud. I know the alphabet, honey. You know what I'm saying? I know the alphabet. And I stumbled and started stuttering. The kids like, oh, ha, ha, ha. She dumb. She doesn't know her alphabets. And for whatever reason, that moment just switched me in such a way that I retained the stutter for years.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not until I decided that I have something to say and I'm going to say it and I'm not going to be worried about being judged, because that's basically the pattern. That's that pattern of that feeling of being judged. Like everyone's waiting for me to mess up. No one's waiting for me to mess up now. Yeah. Why am I giving all this power to kindergarten children? Oh, I'm a grown woman. Why am I still giving all this power, emotional power, to a bunch of 5-year-olds?
It's so important. It's so important for us to remember that we have more power than we sometimes realize, and that what we're really afraid of the most is how powerful we are. This is something that Marianne Williamson said. I remember reading that quote from her, that what we are most afraid of is how powerful we are. And I also studied as a child. I studied as far as I can remember. My father was also a stutterer. He was also a barrister, and he would go to court.
Really? He would amazing.
As a stutterer. He wasn't somebody who was shy about speaking. Now, I was somebody who was very shy. I'm a natural introvert, even though I have learned to be an extrovert when it needs to happen. But it's about knowing our own self. And what I love about that particular, I call it an issue. We've all come to go through particular issues in each lifetime. And my issue was stuttering. And I love the way we've connected, and I hear that this is something that you have also had to overcome.
Right.
I think that even as an adult, we still find that we sometimes have to manage our breath or manage our thoughts or manage our breathing. And I love the way you have said, this is something that you feel takes you to the past. So why are you giving power to those kids, even now as an adult? And you break the pattern. And you remember that actually this is who I am. And you show yourself love. Because there's a part of you that is not a stutterer. This is your higher self. And that higher self is there to show all parts of you love. And this is how when that realization comes to us. My father connected me to my higher self from a very young age. He would tell me, pause. Before you speak, pause and take a breath. I believe the higher self is one true victor, is the hero for us stutterers. When we can find that connection, that path to the higher self, whichever way, whether through breath work, through introspection, healing, removing that tendency for the ego to judge itself. The ego self is judging itself, and it's not allowing the love, the unconditional love from the higher self. It's not allowing itself to feel that love. So what I do when I'm speaking is to breathe into the higher self. I'm allowing the higher self to drive my being, my state of being. And this has been one of the things that has kept me on my spiritual practice. I don't joke with it. It has been one of the things that has made me realize that if you do want to be the kind of person that you cherish, that you admire, you cannot lose your connection to your higher self. You cannot allow the ego self to feel like a victim, subject to criticisms and judgments and conditionings. So the healing practice, the healing work continues. It's a journey. And we all have the things that around us, within us, that keep us on that journey, that keep us on our toes.
Yes.
And it's so powerful. But I love the way your book is allowing your readers and those who connect with it to read those stories and really come to a place of reflection, a place of understanding what their issues, their themes are. What has the story brought up in me? What do I need to release? What do I need to go beyond? Who do I need to forgive, including myself? Forgiveness has
Yeah.
to do with self. What about your other book? There's another book.
Yes.
I'd love to hear about the other book.
Okay, so this book is called Saturday Magic, a Hoodoo Tale. And this is a children's book. This is my first children's book that I wrote with my daughter-in-law. She's an amazing children's author, and she already has 3 best-selling children's books. And she says, "Mom, I want to write a book with you." And I said, "A children's? I've never written a children's book." And she says, "No, you always are reminding me of my magic. So I would like us to start writing some children's books about little children rediscovering their magic." So this is a book about a little girl named Deo that goes on a Saturday journey. Here I go. A Saturday journey. She's supposed to be going to her friend's house. And she wakes up and she dreamt of this beautiful yellow bird. And she's like, "Mom, what does the yellow bird mean?" And the mother says, "Oh, well, you'll find out through the day." And so she practices different things. It changes. So she goes about her day. First, she does some housework. So after she does her housework, that includes ancestor veneration, and we'll talk about that a little bit. She heads off to her friend's house. And along her journey to her friend's house, she sees all these wonderful signs about the meaning of the yellow bird. And we also have in the back of the book a recipe for kids and parents to do together. It is a simple watermelon and orange salad that's really yummy and tasty. And this was a book deal with the Running Kids Press, and we are so excited to bring it to market.
Oh, beautiful. That's beautiful. And what's it called again?
Saturday Magic, a Hoodoo Tale. And it is by Running Kids Press, which is a subsidiary of Hachette.
And it's available online on bookstores?
It is available on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Target, everywhere that you would normally buy your children's books. And if you go to a children's bookstore, we love supporting private bookstores. So if there is a bookstore that you absolutely love and adore, ask them to look up Saturday Magic, a Hoodoo Tale.
I love it. I love it. So thank you so much for joining me today, Kenda. And is there anything else you'd like to say? Anything that's going on, maybe a project you're doing or something that you haven't spoken about here that you'd like to share?
Sure. If anyone would be interested in learning more about some of the things that I was talking about, I have a group called the Sacred Joy Garden. And every 30 days we go through one of my joy locks. And we also deal with the joy locks, one of the journal prompts, and other special magical things like astrology. Like my ladies, we're getting ready for this solar eclipse, and this month's theme is peace. So anyone that is interested in joining any month, you can join any month, of course, but we combine spiritual tools that you can learn to use in practical ways. So, and it's for ladies only at this time.
That's wonderful. Tell us about the solar eclipse coming up. It's the 8th of April, isn't it?
Yes. It is Monday, April 8th, and it's going to be in Aries. So for the most part, most of the initial work happened on the lunar eclipse that we just went through. Now, I don't know if you're watching about different things that's going on over here on this side of the pond, but with Mr. Brother Love, Mr. Diddy, different controversies are going on with that. And then there was a cargo ship that hit a bridge in my town, Baltimore, Maryland, and it's one of the largest ports. And so whenever you have these lunar eclipse seasons, there's usually a shifting that's happening. You'll see major events happen. The last one that we had in the springtime, I believe that was in April, was when the Middle East, the Gaza Strip got hot, you see? So now we have this moon, and then we saw more on a personal level, scandals. So the lunar eclipse was in Libra, the full moon, and it was being covered by the Aries sun. So this is about who we are, how we show up in our relationships, our partnerships. The real us wants to come out, or the real us will be exposed depending upon what's going on. So when we come into the solar eclipse, which is going to be a total one, the Monday, next Monday, that's when we're going to be expected to come full force into who we are. We're making decisions upon who we are going to be, not just in a relationship, but to ourselves. So the lunar eclipse kind of showed us who we were in relationships, whether good or bad. So when we close out the season with the solar eclipse in Aries, this is about, okay, you saw who you are with that person in that situation, but who are you now for real? Like, are you going to be that darker side person that was in that relationship? Are you going to be that watered down version of you, or are you going to trust yourself and your partner to deal with who you are? Because this is going to bless you. If you're ready to really decide who you're going to be, this eclipse season is going to be a blessing, because you might not lose the relationship that you're afraid to lose. By you being authentic might be the thing that will take it to the next level. But the thing is, by you being vulnerable and authentic, are you ready to have your partner to be honest and authentic? Because a lot of times we're like, oh, I don't trust to tell him, I don't trust to tell her. Are you afraid of what they're not necessarily going to judge you, but what are they going to say back? You know? So you got to be brave enough to be you for your blessing this year.
Sometimes doing that in a group is really helpful, because you have the support and you can be guided, because it takes audacity sometimes to be authentic, because we have to face that part of us that is saying, who do you think you are? They're all that imposter syndromes. There's so many systems within us that we need to let go of, and sometimes we need to let go of those systems on our own, and sometimes we do need to do it in a group. So I do encourage listeners who are resonating with you to connect with you, to join you in this program. When is it coming up?
Well, this is a new month, so we technically just started our first month, but you can join at any time. You can join at any time. We do a 30-day cycle, but once you join, you'll have access to a library that shows you what we've already done. So you'll get the meditations, you'll get the working prompts, you'll get the rituals, and all of those wonderful, fun things.
Oh, brilliant. And where can people find you when they want to connect with you, Kenda?
Sure. www.sacredopportunities.com. Or if you want to learn about the Sacred Joy Garden, you can go to bit.ly/sacred joy garden. And it'll take you right there, and you can join for as little as starting as $7. It's one of the best deals on the internet.
Yeah, sounds like it. Thank you again for joining me, Kenda. It's been such a pleasure.
Same here. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
And I'd like to thank my listeners for joining me. And I do want to share my book. This is the Daily Soul Bytes book, and it's available anywhere books are sold online. And it's really sharing the higher perspectives of self to enable us to become much more familiar with these perspectives of unconditional love. Because when we are familiar with perspectives of unconditional love, then we are quicker to align to them. When we align to them, we materialize these experiences in our day-to-day, in all areas of our lives. So this is the bestseller now, and it's available anywhere online books are sold. And I invite you to grab a copy and leave a review, and also for you to subscribe to the Daily Soul Bytes Show on YouTube, and like and share new episodes every Wednesday and new shorts every morning at 9 a.m. GMT. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take very good care. Bye-bye.